Morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. What an epic derby in Cape Town on Saturday. Christmas derby. Still not getting used to it, I must admit. It's now Sunday morning. Still having my cup of coffee here. But yeah, still not getting used to festive rugby. I kind of enjoyed the old days we used to have a couple of weeks off on the beach. But be that as it may, yeah, great one for the Stormers. Well done, John Dobson. So I thought I'd give a couple of thoughts about exactly what I thought happened yesterday, address some of the stuff I've seen on Twitter, and maybe just give some insight into the game, etc. I think to start off with, I think we must understand, and I know a lot of Stormers supporters are going to probably be crowing about the 7-0, and rightly so. When you dominate another team like that, you must enjoy these streaks. But like all streaks, they come to an end at some point. When is that going to happen? I don't know. But yeah, I was on record in the podcast saying that I hope the streak does come to an end just for the good of the derby, because I don't think it's healthy to have this one-sided thing in the derby. You want the games to be close. You want it to be a rivalry that wins, for both sides. No matter who you support, you need that sort of rivalry to be built up. If it becomes too one-sided, it loses the rivalry aspect of it. And I think I'm not sure we're quite in that yet, but I think if it carries on like that, then it's not going to become a thing anymore. Um, and to be honest, yeah, I really for the Bulls players, I thought, yeah, I mean they've been unlucky in some games, but the Stormers have deserved most of their victories. So I hope for them that they would have got one. Saying that, no qualms with the result. Saying that, no qualms with the result though. I think the Stormers were deserved winners on Saturday. I thought the game was an epic contest. It was really a good advert for South African rugby. Amazing derby. And really, it reminded us both teams. The Springboks stood out. All the Springbok players from the World Cup that played in that game excelled. They looked exceptionally good. We saw a couple of good new youngsters coming through. Mpilo and Gumede had an excellent game as well. Janke Swanepoel looked good as well. Dion Fourie was just Dion Fourie, and you sort of wonder when's he going to get old. And Harjivan Diamani had a great game as well. I think there's a lot of good things in that game as well. And I know a lot of people concentrating on some of the controversial moments, but those good parts of that game shows how healthy the game is in South Africa and how healthy that rivalry is at the moment. Also, I think a lot of Stormers supporters going very nervous going into this game. I didn't really see a need for that. The Stormers have only lost 2 games at home in the last 3 years. They're generally not a team that's going to lose very much at home, and it's very difficult to win there. And I always remember something that Jake also said, and John Dobson have said to myself on occasion. I can't remember exactly when, but when the Stormers get in front there at Cape Town Stadium, it becomes incredibly hard to play catch-up rugby against them. They've got an incredible defence system. Their line speed is good, and for any team playing catch-up rugby, that makes it very difficult. So the best thing you could do against the Stormers is get ahead and try and build scoreboard pressure. Now, if you look at the game, I think that's before we get to let's just address that point. I think that's one of the things the Bulls failed to do. And I think if you want to look for the fatal flaw in their plan, go to that first half. All those penalties, that 8-9 penalties they gave away in the first half, took away all their momentum as well. It gave easy points. Johan Goosen offside twice, 6 points. And then Kanan Moody blocking Leland Zas also for 3 points as such. I don't have footage of that, but anybody who watched the game will remember those incidents. There was 9 soft points there. Instead of being 10-0 up, you're 10-9, and then suddenly the Stormers get a try, and then you're playing catch-up rugby again. And that's part of the problem with the entire playing at Cape Town Stadium. A team like Stormers is so efficient in what they do and so good on defence that you have to get ahead. And if you don't get ahead, you're going to find it very hard to come back later in the game there. But let's first address some of the controversial points of the game. I also don't have footage of this. I've been looking for footage. Plus, with all the copywriting things as well. But I'm sure if you watch the game, you can see it somewhere on a replay. The first incident was that of Gerard Steenekamp taking out Nathan Fouchier, if I remember right. I thought Gerard Steenekamp was extremely lucky to stay on the field. I understand the reasoning from the referee and the touch judge and the TMO that there was a change in movement, there was dipping, and there were mitigating circumstances. But we've seen so many times, in rugby games that those things aren't even counted, and those are still seen as red. So yeah, so I thought he was very lucky to get a yellow there. Yeah, it's one of those things. There's a totally different debate if you think some of those tackles are worthy of red or not, but that is the laws we play under at the moment. And and that I thought he was lucky to get yellow. I was glad he didn't get a red because I thought it would have ruined the game anyway. And I was hoping, for the spectacle that we got. And then the second one, Peter Gumede, which wasn't even ruled a penalty, I thought there was definitely mitigation there as well. I thought he was bent as the ref saw as well. He used his arms, and that I think it was Ben Jason Dixon came down quite heavily, and if he didn't come down and change in height, that he would have hit him in the sternum, and it wouldn't have even been a problem. So yeah, I also didn't really have a problem with that either. These decisions are like that. If you felt differently, that's good for you. But I don't think the officials did wrong, and I can understand their reasoning for this. Then, I always laugh when, because it becomes a thing with coaches say that we could have scored three more tries or we were over the line three times. Point is, they weren't scored, so they don't really count. So those what ifs, the Bulls can say if Mpilo Gumedi didn't drop the ball on the line, they probably would have won the game. It's conjecture. You can't really use that as a statement. So to me, if you look at the three disallowed tries, the one cross kick, we I think it was Suleiman Hartzenberg got the ball. His foot was clearly on the line. That was an easy decision for the TMO. I think it was a great move, and it almost worked out. Same with Damien Willemses. There was clear separation in the hand, and he definitely lost the ball. So that definitely wasn't a try. It would have been a superb try if it was scored. And Bulls fans, just remember one thing. I mean, a couple of weeks ago against Saracens, the Bulls scored three tries that were disallowed as well. These things happen in games. You take the good with the bad, and you move on. A good team doesn't let that rattle them. I think the only contentious try that really was Dion Faree's try, where it was a judge that he'd used his knee to propel himself. Now, the law says you can place the ball, you got to give yourself an opportunity. I saw the reasoning that Morris van der Westhuizen and Morris Jonker, the TMO, had in that one. They did feel that he propelled himself up with the knee. It's debatable. It's one of those decisions that you leave in the hands of the officials. I don't think it made a difference to the game, to be very honest. I thought the Stormers were good enough to get ahead and score, and I think that I wish I had a replay for that because we could debate it for hours. But I don't think they necessarily got it wrong. I thought it's a technicality, and at the end of the day, I don't think the refereeing performance was that bad. I know Bulls fans aren't happy. There was stuff missed both sides. But I thought Marius van der Westhuizen was clear, concise, maybe consistent, I think is probably the best word, whether it was good or bad. I didn't agree with all these decisions, but I thought both sides probably have something to complain about, but nothing that really swung the game, in my opinion. You might disagree, and you can let me know below in the comments. So let's go back to the game. I think one thing we have to sort of realize is, and I don't think it gets given enough credit, is the mental hold that last season gave the Stormers over the Bulls. Jake White has now openly admitted this year that he relied on the same group of players for too long. And especially in that run last year where they played the Currie Cup game shortly before the URC game, and he played the same first choice side against a second string Stormers side. The confidence that Stormers side got by winning that game in the Western Province side, those players, they don't fear the Bulls at all. And while the Bulls are a better side this year, a much better side, that's why the scoreline was a lot closer. They're still not mature enough to get to that point. I felt for Jake. I thought he was magnanimous in defeat. He gave the Stormers a lot of credit. I think it's very humbling when you lose 7 in a row, and I've seen some of the memes. There's one or two on the screen now. That came out afterwards. That's fine. Fans are going to crow. That's going to happen. Get the bragging rights. But I think at the end of the day, what the derby really needs is a Bulls win at some point. I know Stormers fans are going to agree with me on that one. They like winning. I feel for the Bulls a bit in that. I thought at the end of the day, though, the Stormers' defense was exceptional. That's what won them the game. Their line speed, they disrupted the Bulls. And the Bulls couldn't get the ball out wide as much as they would want to. I thought some of their decision making was poor. And yeah, in particular, I want to say disappointing Johan Goosen. Not only did he give away 6 points with the boot, missed a couple of conversions, got handed off by Hakjiva Dayamani, and I hate to single the guy out, but he's one of your senior players. He's your playmaker, and I really didn't think he had a good game. I thought they took Vidi out of the game a lot of the times. I thought Vidi didn't have a great game, and I think he was he was niggled the whole time, and well done to the Stormers for working that out and getting on him. I thought Kurtley and Caden were class, as always, and they scored the tries that mattered. David Creel didn't have as much influence as Stedman Gans as they would have liked, but yeah, Goosen was the problem to me where the game started and stopped. And then I just want to say another thing. I mean, I really like young Hendrik Wessels as a player. I think he's got a huge future. And I know Jake is backing him to come through at some point. But the line out that the Bulls had in the Stormers 22, late in the second half, where they were on the attack, they were 6 points behind, and he overthrows that line out. Now that, as he did the same thing in Lyon a couple of weeks ago, in the Champions Cup game, and gave away a number of penalties in that game, he's going to really have to tighten up his game. If he's going to be a hooker, he's got to get his line out jumpers in key positions like that. Otherwise, he's going to be the same as Joseph Weber, where people start talking about your line out throwing more than they do about your game. So, I think at the moment he's a youngster, he's learning. He'll probably get there, but I think that was another key point. There were just those moments where the Bulls needed to spark and they never could. And you've got to give the Stormers defense credit for that. Their defense was exceptional. I thought they were bordering on offside a number of times there, but you played to the ref. So when you get away with it and stuff, you get away with the stuff. But they certainly upset the Bulls' rhythm. The Bulls couldn't get into their stride a lot, especially in that second half. The Bulls had a lot of ball and really tried to get over the line, but the Stormers were never going to let them through. I always had the feeling, I said before the game to some colleagues, Stormers by 10. I said, I don't see the Bulls winning this one. And I sent a message earlier to my colleague Gavin Rich, the same thing. I just don't think the Bulls are there yet. Kind of harsh if you say it, but you got to be realistic. I think the Bulls are a great side and they will do well, but they've got a mental mountain to overcome before they get a win against the Stormers right now. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. We'll leave you with some comments at the end here. Jake and Dobbo about what they thought about the game, Dion Faria as well. So have a watch and make up your mind, and you tell me in the comments there what you think, where the game was won and lost, and if you agree with my comments as well. But it was a great derby for me. There had to be a winner, had to be a loser, and as I say, I think in future the derby does need a Bulls win at some point. But that's easy standing here in Pretoria. If you're in Cape Town, you'd like it to be 21-0, not 7-0. So it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching and Merry Christmas, guys. This is going to probably be my last video before Christmas, and a lot coming in the new year as well. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And I read all the comments. Leave them below. Chat to you soon. Cheers.
I mean it sincerely. Dion, I think we were here yesterday saying the thing about this team is that it didn't bother us, and I mean it in the best way. What gives me real excitement is now suddenly you throw in now Dan Duke back into that mix, and I reckon as I took more in January, probably the next week, Dan Duke sitting back next week. I think we've sort of punched our way through that Cardiff darkest hour, and I think we put in 3 really compelling performances and showing that we're really a class team on the international standard, I think, based on the last few games. We're our best game of the season. Tough. I think the last 3 weeks have been excellent. That Watford Road, by that was probably what I did. Probably felt prouder there at Watford Road. Last week to beat La Rochelle was great. And this probably because of the local derby and the occasion, so it's tough. I don't know, what do you feel, man?
I think we made it difficult for ourselves. I won't say it was our best game. Made a lot of mistakes off plan, but luckily we still got the win and the guys stuck out for 80 minutes like we used to. But I would say it was our best game. I think there's still a lot of work on us individually.
Just
typical South African.
In the air with Goosen, lost forward by Goosen. Offload is good in contact. Engelbrecht. Willie Engelbrecht inside for the 1-0. It's a wonderful score.
He gets it spot on here.
I need the captain.
And good positive carry from Janku Swanepoel. But look at Ambrose Papier, 2-on-2. Realizes there's no one home. Curtly Orenser just holds it up. Beautiful kick. Too quick as he goes over. But what a little, this is exceptional play. Just a vision to look behind the defensive line and realize no one is home. And over. Curtly Orenser goes for another.
I mean, sincerely, I think we were here yesterday was great. And this probably because of the local derby and the occasion, so it's tough. I don't know, what do you feel, man?
I think we made it difficult for ourselves. I won't say it was our best game. Made a lot of mistakes off plan, but luckily we still got the win and the guys stuck out for 80 minutes like we used to. But yeah, I won't say it was our best game. I think there's still a lot of work on us individually.
Just our typical South African.
In the air with Goosen, lost forward by Goosen. Offload is good in contact. Engelbrecht. Willie Engelbrecht inside for the 1-0. It's a wonderful score.
He gets it spot on here.
I need the captain.
And good positive carry from Janku Swanepoel. But look at Ambrose Papier, 2-on-2. Realizes there's no one home. Curtly Orenser just holds it up. Beautiful kick. Too quick as he goes over. But what a little, this is exceptional play. Just a vision to look behind the defensive line and realize no one is home. And over. Curtly Orenser goes for another.
And then LaRue looking for Moody. And Moody into the corner. Well, they made it look simple.
Yeah, so I mean it sounds almost like the same speech I should have just recorded last year, not your question but the others. Yeah, it's the exact same as last year. Every time we get down there we sort of shoot ourselves in the foot. But again, I need everyone to understand it's we've lost to them 7 times, 5 times have been in this ground. So you look at their record against most teams, they're difficult to. I mean, even La Rochelle last week, difficult to win here. And we came within a couple of minutes of actually still trying to win the game, even though I thought probably the worst we've played this whole year in the first half. So yeah, the margins are like that, and I mean that is unfortunately how this game works. And as Stephen says, it was a game where tried disallowed, breakaway nearly into their half, and then turnover. It could have gone either way. So it's I think it's 9 rounds. No, it's 9 or 8 rounds we played. 8 rounds we played, and we top of the South African teams. If you had said that before we started, get to Christmas and be top of the South African teams, and only play 3 home games this year, I'm sure all the Bulls supporters and the coaches would have taken it. But it takes nothing away from the fact, Ashfaq, we really thought we could win this game because we've been playing well and we trained well this week.